Welcome back on the program. Still talking education standard in Nigeria. Many matters arising there. I still have with me in the studio this morning a lecturer from Ahmadu Bello University Economics Department and also the EduBox International Relation Officer and Researcher Jamilu Babangida. My thanks for staying tuned. All right, we've looked at some of the challenges bedeviling education in Nigeria. What are the solutions to, or preferable solutions to the poor standard of education in the country?
The solution to education in Nigeria, since the government has shown that it cannot solve the problem of education, I think I call on...
That's a serious allegation on the Nigerian government.
We need to call on corporate organizations to look into education as part of... because we all know corporate organizations in their ethical domain, they have what they call the CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. I think through that window, the corporate organizations can venture into education in order to help see how Nigeria better its education sector, for us to have employable graduates, for us to have good infrastructures, and have laboratories for proper experimentation that will drive the economy towards development. Because we all know the world hinges around science and technology, and without proper funding of education, we are going nowhere. So the corporate organizations, I think they need to come into this and invest what they can, their time, experience, effort, and things like that. Because we can see our education sector is delinked from the industrial sector. For example, we have student graduates that are not even employable. Is with organizations such as EduBox, for example, which I know, they help in bridging the skill gap between graduates and being employable. So, and you know how the system works in Nigeria. It's all about, for some graduates, you will see a graduate, for example, they don't even know how to work. They can't even write proper application letter.
Okay.
They do recruit some people to write CVs, write letters, and things like that. Many problems like that.
And so what are these corporate organizations doing, like EduBox, are doing to tackle some of these challenges?
EduBox, for example, they do recruit graduates, school leavers, for example. They train them, vocational trainings, things like that, entrepreneurship, and for those
is that part of the contribution to solving some of the challenges in the education system in Nigeria?
Yeah, it's part of it, because it's not everybody. We need an economy where we have social change agents, and we need an economy where we have entrepreneurs. We need technologies. So with the with what EduBox is doing, we are training school leavers to be social agents. We are training school leavers to be entrepreneurs. We train school leavers to be scholars.
What have you been researching on? Because in all of this development, we need to look at, even you yourself as a young Nigerian, what have you done to impact the country? Because we can't just come here on the program and say, the government is not doing this, the government is not doing that. We put all the blames on the government. But personally, what have you been doing to ensure that things get better in education sector in Nigeria?
Even though it has been disproved that UNESCO did not recommend 26% of budget going to education, but if we truly want development, I think we need 15 to 20% of our national budget to be voted for education. So looking at that, we came with the idea that, because I did a little research on that, how we can better our education sector. That was when I got to know that, okay, fine, corporate organizations in their ethical domain, they need to do more, invest in education, invest their experience, because we need students with experience, because we can't just have theoretical theory all the time without proper application. So we need students that have applied knowledge of what they truly learn in class. So from that, we recommended that, okay, corporate organizations, if all, for example, let's say 70% of corporate organizations invest into education, I think the country will do well when it comes to science and technology. And you know, science and technology is the bedrock of every developing and developed countries of the world today. We can see China, we can see Australia. For example, if you check, we have more than 10,000 Nigerian students studying in US, UK, and I think we have about 3,000 in Ukraine. We have in Malaysia. We also have here in Ghana. We have more than enough Nigerian students spend.
Because some Nigerians don't even believe if they have the money, why would they study here in Nigeria when you have ASU strike? Course of 4 years, they spend 7 years studying.
Yeah, it's because the government is not willing to fund education. Because if you check from the ASU strike, all along the strike and all is the government not approving some of the promises, not fulfilling its promises and the mandate it needed to. But unfortunately, ASU has to, because the only warning the government hears is the ASU strike.